Warning! The production of this video started before the TDS patch that happened on the night of June 7th, 2026, meaning that the changes to Frost Blaster, Juggernaut, Wave 50, or anything else mentioned or shown in this video have not happened yet as of the time of editing and uploading of this video. Oh, and also, I was not aware of this strategy document being a thing when I did my Triumph. The method that we used in this video is a better method that was more reliable, and we did not use a strategy document. With that being said, please enjoy the video. Yes, you read the title. According to Yum, the GOAT who I'm on Voidcore with, and I'm pretty sure one of the best TDS players right now, don't quote me on that, I was one of the first 150 people to beat Voidcore. Now, if you clicked on this video looking for a strategy document, sadly, you're not gonna get one. If you can, I encourage you to go beat this on your own, and to help with that, I'll give you the loadouts we used in our Triumph on screen, and you can follow along with the video if you can. First off, we have farm on each loadout being a required source of income that you'll absolutely need to afford the towers that you have to bring. For players 1 and 2, we both have Juggernaut. These Juggernauts are required to triumph this game mode and absolutely must have max mastery. Player 1 used bottom path Juggernaut and player 2 used top path Juggernaut. Another vital part of the triumph is Frost Blaster on player 3, which we used as part of our early game carry, part of our mid game carry, and our late game free support. On our third slot for each loadout, we have our supports being player 1 with DJ, player 2 with medic, and player 3 with commander. You should know why we brought these. If you don't, you probably don't have any chance at beating Voidcore. For the last slots of player 1, we have Mercenary Base and G-Pyro. Mercenary Base was used as a damage buff in the mid game and used for unit stacking in the late game, while G-Pyro was used for defense chipping, early game lead chipping, extra early game damage, and late game stun bait. This completes the loadout of player 1, and for player 2, we have G-Crook and Warlock. G-Crook was a vital part of the early game, placed to deal with enemies early on with its high placement DPS, as well as used to deal with flying enemies all throughout the game, and extra DPS in the late game. Player 2 also brought Warlock, which I'm not sure if it's entirely necessary, and it could possibly be replaceable, as from my perspective, our player who used Warlock didn't really seem to be using it more than as a sub DPS, but don't quote me on that. And for our last player, we have Hacker, which was used for Juggernaut cloning on the final waves, if I'm not mistaken, and all-around support, and Engineer as one of our main early game assists, and supporting DPS throughout mid and late game. These were our loadouts, and I hope that can help you out a little bit. And here was my triumph for Voidcore. Now, first off, we started off the game by leaking a few enemies and farming for a bit, before we placed an Engineer, and then I placed a G-Pyro, and we went back to farming for a bit. On wave 12, I placed a Golden Pyro in the front for some easy burn damage on some of the hiddens and other enemies, but mostly to chip away at defense and at the leads that were coming into waves. Now, finally, after some waiting around, I saved up enough money for a Juggernaut to deal with the boss that was coming on the very same wave as I placed it. We end up barely taking out the boss, but that's okay, as the boss was intended to get this far, which is why we kept this bit of defense around at the back from earlier. After upgrading a few farms, it was finally time to start waiting around again to get Juggernaut upgrades. Most of my part of the run is spent just trying to get Juggernaut upgrades, as he's an incredibly expensive tower that costs over $500,000 in total. Nevertheless, I finally end up getting the Juggernaut upgrade, and then I go on to upgrade the DJ that I placed earlier to level 3 for some more discounts. Now, it was back to upgrading my farms again, and then I placed an extra 2 farms because I thought it'd be nice to have a little extra income, and then, you guessed it, back to waiting for more Juggernaut upgrades. After a little bit of time, I finally got my Juggernaut to level 3, and then the Void Titan spawned, which wasn't too much of a threat, and we made pretty easy work of it. After a little more waiting, I finally got my Juggernaut to level 4. A little after upgrading my Juggernaut, I then upgraded my DJ to max level after a bit more waiting. Then I placed down a Mercenary Base near the towers for the passive damage buff that it gives. When I finally got my Mercenary Base and set it on Riot Guards, I was a bit upset that I placed it just out of range of my own Juggernaut, which made him miss out on an extra damage buff. So I think that buff reaches about everything but my Juggernaut. but it was okay, as right after that, I placed down 2 more max level mercenary bases near the back, keeping them on riflemen for some easy unit stacking in the late game. Now, after that, wave 45 dawned upon us, and so did the Soul Stealer with 300k HP, but I don't think that the Soul Stealer was ready for 2 Juggernauts dealing 6k DPS combined, as we made some pretty quick work of him. After we killed him, wave 46 had started, and I also started saving for a level 7 Juggernaut, as he's the last important thing that I have not fully upgraded. I finally upgraded my Juggernaut to level 6, and then wave 48 started, where the Void Sword Master had spawned, who, I'm gonna lie, was pretty scary. See what I did there? I said I'm gonna lie, which means I wasn't telling the truth. When the Void Sword Master spawned, I got level 7 Juggernaut, and the Void Sword Master started... Wait. Where did the Void Sword Master go? After the Void Sword Master suddenly vanished, we decided to carry on with our game, and wave 49 had started, which was pretty much just a filler wave compared to wave 48. Now, time for my opinions to come into play here. I'm just gonna keep it real. After you make it past mid-game, this mode is basically a cakewalk, especially the final wave. Truthfully, I don't really think they balanced this game mode around taking into consideration of 2 people bringing Juggernauts alongside someone cloning a Juggernaut, at least in the end game, because once you start getting these Juggernauts max, this starts getting really easy. This is kind of weird considering the fact that I think this is a clearly prestigious mode that you can only attempt to beat if you've beaten hardcore. But we don't take someone bringing Juggernaut into consideration and make the late game a cakewalk with no challenge for anyone who does have Juggernaut. I really hope that once Operator comes out, the Scout evolution, that the hardest part of the game, which is early through mid game, won't suddenly become easy, just like Juggernaut makes the late game easy. Anyways, rant that was used to make wave 49 somewhat entertaining aside, we finally make it to wave 50, which spawns the Void Reaver and Voidcaster. Now, what's different about this mode in hardcore is that once you kill the Void Reaver, the Voidcaster will revive him. The Voidcaster has a property called No Target, which makes it so she can only be hit by AoE attacks that she's in the radius of, I believe. And that No Target property will only go away for a split second when you kill the Void Reaver, and when she revives the Void Reaver again, she will regain the No Target property again. I will say, this is an interesting boss fight, but I don't really think it's necessarily too hard, but maybe I'm only saying that because I practically have 3 Juggernauts in my game right now. Anyways, I'm not gonna act like this was a close game by any means. It was not. Not at all. We kill the Voidcaster, who revives the Void Reaver one more time at 240k HP, and the Void Reaver gains much more speed, but it's far too late to sprint to the finish now, as he's basically already dead as my great-great-great-great-grandfather. The late game might have been kind of easy, but in the end, who really cares? I had a fun time, and I think that this update is absolutely impeccable and was absolutely worth the wait. Though, I'm not sure how to feel about these rewards for beating the game's hardest mode, but I guess that these rewards were made in consideration of people creating strategy documents which would ruin the whole challenge and grind this mode repeatedly. If you enjoyed this video, or if I helped you at all, make sure to leave a like on the video. I know a lot of people tend to just watch videos they like and then not even bother to like them, but for me, it would absolutely help as I'm a fairly small creator and I'd appreciate any support you can give me. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.